Let's pivot away from that to the NFL with the team that had the number 1 overall pick and the 9th overall pick. Only 4 picks in this year's draft at the beginning, the lowest out of everybody in the NFL. They made a couple moves, picked up 1, but 1 and 9 remained the exact same that everybody thought going in. Ladies and gentlemen, the man has been tasked with flipping Chicago back into a winner. GM for the Bears, Ryan Poles.
Yeah.
How are you, bub?
What's going on? Doing good. How are you?
Hey, I was worried we were never going to be able to talk to you again after our time down at the annual meeting. I'm very thankful that you're back on, and I can't fathom how cool you look as a general manager in the NFL right now. Look at you, cut-off hoodie, sick, flat bill, with a pen in there, always scouting, always judging. We appreciate you taking the time to join us here post-draft. So number 1 overall, Caleb Williams. We knew that forever. Did you know that forever like everybody else? Or was there a full process of trying to figure out who could potentially be the number 1 overall pick?
Yeah, we went through the full process. The film was a film that stood out, that kind of had my heart from the beginning. But as we spent more time with Caleb and did our homework and got to know each other, it became clearer and clearer.
Go ahead, AJ.
When you see all this stuff surrounding, and I know you guys do a great job of having your blinders on and not listening to whatever pundits or mock drafts might be, you guys know who you have? Like when you know who Caleb is, does anything ever infiltrate your guys' building of all the, if people just want to tear him down because he's been the number 1 pick for so long? How do you guys block that out, and how do you truly know that, hey, like this is your guy?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with any relationship you're about to start, you got to see the other person eye to eye. You got to spend time with them real time and not take everybody else's, thoughts with that. So that's what we did. We sat down with each other. We had dinner together. All of our staff got to spend time with them. I wanted to make sure some of our players sat down and spent time with them as well. That means a lot to me. It means a lot to the locker room. So once all those boxes got checked, I really didn't care, about the noise and what other people had to say.
Did you tell Caleb before the draft you were taking him at number 1?
No. I think he knew though.
Okay, all right. So there was, because that would be a whole nother animal. If Caleb was told and he didn't tell anybody, it's like, okay, here we go. We got another story, because coming out to AJ's point, it was like his team, closest source to him, were saying all these things. Then we watch him at the pro day, wrestling with his offensive linemen. His teammates love him. We met him at the draft, seemed incredibly humble. He introduced himself to everybody. It's like, checked all the boxes from our standpoint, from end of season to the draft. I feel like he did the same for you. And everybody's talking about that number 9 overall pick. It's like, okay, well, they're probably going to get out there to get more picks. And if they don't, they're taking Rome Odunze because him and Caleb are tight. That was going into the draft. People were saying that. And then all of a sudden it falls to pick 9. You knew Rome was going to be the guy if he was available. And how did we land on that particular pick as opposed to maybe trading out and picking up some more pieces?
Yeah, Rome was at the top of our list. We have our draft board kind of separated by different colors. And there's certain guys you don't pass up on, and Rome's one of them. It's hard to find a guy that is that big and that talented at the receiver spot, and on top of that, being an unbelievable human being as well. So there was no movement off of Rome at all.
You made some. You picked up another pick. D-Butt's got a question for you about next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Adding talent to that wide receiver room, and then bringing over Keenan Allen as well, coming off one of his best seasons. He's been a dominating pro. DJ Moore coming off a career year as well. We all know, hey, history of the Bears, never had a 4,000-yard quarterback. Can we expect more of a wide-open offense, especially in the early part of the season going into it?
Well, I think, Shane's going to do a good job putting Caleb in a position to be successful. I think with any setup, having balance is helpful in that. And then with all the weapons that we do have, you would think that we should have some success in the air as well. But I think we want to keep it balanced, keep everyone, not knowing exactly what we're going to do, and take advantage of those matchups. And if it's a heavy box or light box, being able to exploit whatever part of the field we need to. So I'm excited. I think we've attacked every level in terms of our weapons on our offense. So we're pumped up.
Yeah, you're bringing Swift, too, phenomenal running back. Obviously, that'll help in it all. And I think the big thing we noticed towards the end of last year after you brought in Sweat and then paid him, which a lot of people questioned, a lot of people say, you're going to pay this guy that hasn't been here a bunch of money. It felt like Eberflus's culture kind of settled in to the locker room, to the roster, to the defense. When you're meeting with these guys before the draft, are you asking questions to find out if they could fit in with Eberflus's culture? Is that a big part of it? And what do you think the culture of the team is?
Yeah, no, we play hard, we play fast, we play violent, and you got to have passion for the game. And if you have those things, you're going to be fine. But there is a level of intensity that Flus brings and expects. It's just a part of the standard. So we want to make sure we're bringing in guys that can meet that. And it's easy to see. I mean, it's less in the interview. It's more on tape that we can see if you're going to be able to match that standard. And all the guys that we brought in do, even the punter.
Well, that's what I was about to say.
That's the only reason why I'm doing this interview is because I got a punter in here.
Okay, let's talk about Tory Taylor. Ty was going to ask about him, but since you brought him up, I will. He's big. He's big dude. At Iowa, he was like winning them games. Like
best player.
Yeah, legit. He was. They were trying to put him in the Heisman conversation as a punter, which is obviously incredibly abnormal. But there's some games you watch, it's like, well, he just pinned 6 times inside the 5, and the Iowa defense is the biggest weapon for him. He was clearly number 1 punter on the board. At what point, whenever you decide to pull the trigger on him, do you think it's too early for a punter, too late for a punter? How did you kind of go into making the decision to bring Tory to Chicago?
Yeah, I didn't expect him to get much further. Definitely didn't think I'd be able to pick him up when we got to the 5th round. And really the thought process there is to make anyone we're playing really uncomfortable. I didn't play much in the NFL, but I know running onto the field and having the ball spotted inside the 10-yard line is a very uncomfortable feeling. It's disheartening at times. And I love taking advantage of field positions, and really that should help us with points as well. So I think it's going to add to our team and again, make it uncomfortable and difficult for any team we're going against.
He's so powerful. I watched him at the Big Ten Championship in warm-ups, and I assume he didn't have his best warm-up, but whenever you hear the sound of when he hits the ball, it's like, oh, this guy's got a little boom. This guy's got some real boom. He's been working all offseason to become the standard NFL punter and kind of turn balls over. I can't wait to watch him. Thank you for doing that for the break. Thank you for doing that. I think maybe in the 2nd round, if you would have been able to have a pick, or 3rd round, you pull the trigger there. But obviously not a lot of picks. With that being said, Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of behind the scenes coming out right now. For instance, the Jets, they just released a 3-minute video, and during that video, Joe Douglas mentions how Atlanta actually was trying to trade back up to 10. During your process, either before the draft or during the draft, were there any just absurd trade offers at 1 or 9 that even though you had your guys, you had to consider just because, I mean, a year before you pulled off one of the greatest draft trades probably ever, looking back on it?
No, nothing crazy. I don't think I ever allowed it to get crazy because, we were gathering information on Caleb, and I knew, again, from the tape, it was a rare prospect that had a lot of talent that could help us turn this thing around. So it was going to take a lot. So by the time we got to the point where we felt comfortable, I wasn't even going to take those calls anymore or even, listen to what it was going to be because I knew this was the right move for us. I kept it moving. But for 9, a couple calls, some interest, probably similar situation with the Jets, but nothing that was going to take us off of Rome.
We watched that video of Joe Douglas. We'll air it here in a little bit that the Jets put out. The amount, is it that intense in every? He was. I'll call back. And why is he using a cell phone there? Do you guys not have just a phone that one button every single GM, or how? What are the operations behind it all?
No, we all have phones that are wired into every draft room, but I think it's just habit. We all call each other off of our cell phones, so we just jump right back into that when we're in the rooms.
I was so flustered. I'm like, why the hell is he using his own?
Yeah, because all the Ballard videos.
Yeah,
he's on the landline.
Yeah, and it's like they're recording all those. Joe Douglas is on his cell phone. We can't hear shit.
Yeah.
We can't hear a single thing.
why.
He's like in the background. He's like, what does he say? Can we put some captions on there? There he is. He's literally sitting in the back of the room. We'll watch this video later. It is fantastic. Is that an accurate depiction of every room?
No, our room's pretty chill. Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Go ahead, AJ.
Have you ever heard of a room or been in a war room to where you do have like someone, the GM or owner, limits cell phones or says, hey, we can't trust anybody? I don't know if anyone in here is texting a reporter, tipping things, trying to get information. Have you ever heard of any rooms where they do have to kind of take those precautions?
No, I mean, I've had rooms that, limit how many people are in the room. It could be 4 or 5 in the room and keep everyone outside for that issue.
Announce that list. If you're the GM, how do you let people know, hey, you're coming in, you're not, like, how do people know if they're coming into the room?
Yeah, I'm sure there's an email or just kind of a notification of, it's only going to be the top decision makers, directors and above that are going to be in the room. But it's important for me. Everyone's had their hand in the situation or in the process. There's a ton of hard work that goes into it across the board. So on that day, I feel like it's right to have everybody in there. And if you're on staff, I trust you. So you keep the whole crew in there to go through the process.
Well, Raj told you to take the full 10 minutes there on that first pick, or what? How'd that work out?
I had to take 5 minutes to let 5 minutes go by first.
We found out about every pick 10 minutes before they all came out.
We knew Odunze at 6, I think.
Yeah, the internet just had them all. So we had a little situation with the NFL, actually, because the internet knows all these picks before everybody else. I think that's why AJ asked about, like, how do these things get out? What is it? You guys get a heads up before everybody else about who's picked before you, or how is it different from where you are versus where we are?
Yeah, we just have the league has a live draft site. So as soon as enters plugged in from a draft room, it gets posted onto this site. So that's why when you listen to the Jets deal, you'll hear someone yell the pick pretty quickly. So that's why there's a little bit of a head start there.
Yeah, it helps us out. Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, Ryan, through the process leading up to the draft, we talked to a lot of GMs, and like one of the questions a couple of us always had was like, how much you're kind of paying attention to what's going on in the division itself. Now, obviously, if you're drafting a quarterback 1 overall, like, it doesn't matter. You need to get that guy. But how much of, like, looking at the Packers, Lions, and Vikings and, like, what they kind of are as a team, how much of that dictates what you actually do in the draft, if anything?
No, not too much. We have pro staffs that are assigned to each team in the league, and it's more about what their needs are to help you manage if you need to trade up in front of someone, or you can trade back safely and still get your guy. So that's there. But in terms of reacting to what teams do in the moment, I know we don't do that. I think that would just lead you to make some poor decisions.
How do you feel? Did you look at everybody else's draft? You want to judge them publicly here in the NFC North?
No, I'm not going to judge them. I'll let them take care of their own stuff and worry about ours and keep it moving.
Ty said some terrible stuff to the Detroit Lions fans on Friday. I don't know if you got to see it. He said some very rude stuff to the Lions fans. Tone has a question for you, Poles.
Yeah, Mr. Poles, you are adding a lot of weapons, okay? So do you know something we don't know about the new stadium? Now that is it definitely going to be done for next season, and it's going to be indoor, and you guys are just going to throw it, 80% of the time? That's why you're going with all the weapens?
Fast track?
You're working the deal with the mayor?
Yeah. No, I don't know how long it's going to take, but we're excited about the the stuff that they put out and the images of it. I think it'd be really cool, but we'll see how long it takes. But no, we'll be outdoors for a little bit.
Poles, where's everybody parking?
I'm not sure.
Figure it out.
Hey, I do have a special
figure it out.
request on behalf of all the former players and on the current players now. Can you fix the all-22 angle in the new stadium, please? Because that old Chicago Bears all-22 angles was shitty. Please.
It actually was fixed last year.
Okay.
That's what Poles does.
Got your ass.
That's what Poles does.
My bad. My apologies, big man. My apologies.
No, we put some robotic cameras up top, so you don't have overhang, kind of blocking everything.
Thank God.
That was a little bit of a advantage, but it was also screwing them. So I didn't really, I didn't fully understand it. Pac-Man's got a question for you, Poles.
Paul, now that the draft is over, how important is it to get some of these guys? There's still some good guys out there that's going to play some critical downs. Are you still boots on the ground looking at guys right now, or is it time to debrief and watch the rookies for the older guys or the guys that's still free agents?
No, we'll take a look at who's still available and have those conversations and see what fits. There's a couple things into that. It's what guys are asking for, in terms of salary, of what fits the cap situation that we're in now that we have clarity. And having to pick 1 to 9, is pretty expensive. So that kind of messes with our cap a little bit. But we definitely look at what's available and see if any of those guys can help our roster for sure.
Love that. The work never stops as an NFL GM, just like the stories never do. Zito would like to say something to you, Mr. Poles.
Yeah, basically, I've lived for 32 years. That was the greatest draft I've ever been a part of there. And I feel like I was in the war room with you, so thank you very much.
You're welcome, Zito.
Hey, Caleb, we all obviously saw him at USC, saw him win the Heisman, highest paid NIL guy of all time. A lot of bullshit coming around him. What is your messaging to him whenever he comes in? I assume the pressure is already enough because he's number 1 overall pick. But how are you guys talking to him? What are the expectations? And how do you kind of see the next couple months going for him?
Yeah, I think it's just getting on the same page with his teammates. He's already started that. He's reached out to everyone. I think he's reached out to a lot of guys in the defense as well. Getting with him to throw, getting that timing right, and then getting in the playbook. There's a lot of changes from the college game and the offense he was running in college to what he'll do here. We'll make sure we adapt to his strengths, as well, to make sure that he's doing what's comfortable and he can play fast and free. But it's really getting in the playbook and get those concepts down so he can really spit calls and get everyone on the same page. But in terms of the locker room, he's already started. It matters to him, so that part's easy for us. It comes natural to him.
Seems like he's done everything right. And the dap up in the hotel when we got to meet him, very clean. I mean, very, very natural. I was sitting down, he was standing up. He had a group of people around him. Nice, easy, how we doing? Keep it moving. Vibes were immaculate, seemingly. Did you wake up and say, Caleb, no matter what, on a Post-it note? And when did you write that note to yourself? At what was there a moment where you decided, yup, it's going to be Caleb?
After he came in for his 30 visit, so it had been a good couple of weeks. Which made it tough to wait until to draft day. But I was pumped up to get it done finally.
Sounds like Zito was too. I mean,
yeah, he was in there.
Oh yeah.
Just got rash, little zipper burn on him.
Big time.
Yeah, all night he was jacked up. Hey, we appreciate the hell out of you, man. Keep killing it over there. You told us down at the annual meetings. I feel like some of the conversation and chatter about the Chicago organization not being a place is the reason why I was hired. We were hired to kind of turn this thing around. You heard the stat from D-Butt there about not having a 4,000-yard quarterback and everything. Feels like you're doing everything right, and we appreciate the hell out of you taking time with us, brother.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys.
All right, tell Kevin Warren we said hello.
Will do.
Love you, Kev.
Now tell him it's not our fault. During COVID, he said we're not playing football. But we had, we got to talk about it. What do you want from ladies and gentlemen? Ryan Paul, thank you.
Polls.
It's not our fault.
We love football.
No. Well, we have to talk about football. We're
football
talking about
show.
football.